So I was having a discussion with my roommate about the differences on how I kind of am a parent and how other people my age, my friends that are parents, and they have a much tougher job than me. I might have people that can cause a lot more trouble. I might have people that are causing lots of damage. They might just have the intelligence of a 7-year-old, but they have money that they can control themselves, or they usually need a repayee to control it, but I don't want to be that. And most of all, I don't have to worry about the number one thing that most parents don't fucking even consider, even though it's the most important thing to consider when having a child. Because I have my own children that are adults and have the intelligence of a 7-year-old, but I don't have to worry about this one little fact for everybody who has it much harder than me raising a child. So I might have 5 adults, 2 that need constant care living with them, and yeah, they need a parent for life. It's these people have intelligence of 7-year-old for life. It's not going to change. But as a parent, every decision and everything you say, do, and act will make your daughter or son the person they are. Let's say you decide to encourage your son fighting in school because he stuck up for himself. Let's say your son comes home from school saying that somebody bullied him and he got into a fight. Now, some parents would be very upset, discourage that, don't stand up for yourself, go tell a teacher. While other parents might be like, good, don't let anybody pick on you, smash that kid in the nose again if he tries it again. And then your kid gets in more fights, whatever. And then at age 20, when he's an adult, he's one of these weightlifters, he's trying to go to college to be a football star or whatever. But there's many other things that can play into this as well. Like if you don't take your kid's lesson plan seriously at home or at school, and you're letting him just go AWOL, then that might contribute to him being want to put all his future in the sports. Let's say you put a sex offender babysitter in charge of your son, and then your son says he was raped and nothing is done about it. Well, if something like that happens, now maybe your son is broken for life. And if you don't get him help, then he won't be able to overcome it. Maybe you give your son medications and he has a bad reaction and you don't get him help. Now, as an adult, he has seizures, falls, he's bleeding, can't work, who knows? Maybe you didn't work hard to actually monitor your son's conditions. So now no doctors know what your son's conditions are. Maybe you played chess all the time with your son, so he has no friends, but he's really good at chess. So all the friends he has are online on the computer through chess boards. Or maybe you push all tech industry and stuff like that, but you don't push for your son to go out of the house, so he becomes an introvert instead of an outrovert. Or the other parents tell their son they're not allowed to stay in the house during the day. Go out. I don't care where you go, but get out of this house. Then that would make them an outrovert. They're going to look for parks and they're going to look for places to play and baseball and whatever. Maybe ride a bike to get even further out. So now you've given them something else to do, because it's the parents who direct your child. Your child does some directing and choice making. You put the 5 cards in front of your child. Here's 5 cards. You can choose one of these. But your kid does not choose the cards that are put in front of them. It's the parents, the government, and God. That's it. If the parents are failing to consider how their actions affect the child, then that could cause some serious damage. And if the government is lousy and allowing teachers to rape the children or things really bad to happen, then that's going to cause these people to be crazy and hurt adults. And then if you add on that God just checks out on everybody because we're sinful assholes who can't even know the Ten Commandments. Like, I've asked people if they know the Ten Commandments, like one really in particular. It's called, oh my God, thou shalt not make false witness against thy neighbor, or, no, thy shall not testify false witness against his neighbor. Even though the way I look at it is the way that English spells it. You don't make up stories or you don't make assumptions up about other people. That's it. Your family members, your friends, your neighbors, the guy down the street. If you don't see something with your own two eyes, if you haven't had a discussion with the individual and spent a lot of time getting understanding, then you shouldn't be testifying shit to anybody. You should be keeping it to yourself. But yet, in today's society, everybody wants to testify something. This guy did this, and this guy did that, and that guy did that, and I testify that this guy did this, and this guy goes up to friends, look at that lady doing this, and little old ladies going, look at that, and look at that, and little old men going, oh, this guy's a shithead, and this guy's a shithead. But yet, nobody has even had a conversation, understanding, or been there to see what happened. They're getting a couple little details of the picture and trying to put it together a big picture. Well, that's a false testimony, because all you can testify to is that a guy ran out of the bar. Like, let's say a guy ran out of the bar, and then somebody asked you if this guy robbed the bar. Now, you weren't there, but everybody in the bar said they were just robbed, and that was the guy you saw running out of the bar. So you say, yes, I saw that guy rob the bar, instead of telling them, I saw that guy leaving the bar. So you've made a jump because you've got information. But what you don't know is the real thief went through the bathroom out the window. This guy ran because the thief was scaring the fuck out of him and said he was going to shoot him as soon as he robbed the place. You don't know that fact, though, because you weren't there. So instead, you know a robber came out of a bar right out the front door, running to his car, vroom. What you don't know is that the robber went towards the bathroom, went out the window, and didn't have a car. But see, the people inside don't know that. They don't know the guy didn't drive out in a car. And the guy outside who saw the guy run out, he doesn't know the robber went in the bathroom out the window. So when the police arrive, and they're trying to put it all together, and the guy walking into the bar who saw the guy run, and they ask, is this the guy? And they got him in his car down the road. And the guy's like, no, I didn't do anything. I was just threatened and I ran for my life. And then the guy at the front going into the bar says, no, you ran out of there like a bat out of hell because you robbed the place, you Spanish little prick. Yeah, you go to jail, you little Spanish person, yeah. I can just see this going on in southern El Paso, Texas, too. I can see some truck guy pulling into some southern bar, a Spanish guy running out the front door, getting into his car, driving down. Meanwhile, the police arrive. This guy is already just coming in the door talking, what happened? And then the police are questioning everybody. And the guy who just came in the door, did you see who did this? And he's like, yeah, that Spanish guy came flying in his car. He robbed the place. I was there inside. He robbed it. And then now the stories don't match, but they have enough reports of the Spanish guy doing it that they arrest and put down the Spanish guy into prison. But the guy who actually went out the window, him, the Brazilian guy who was here because he knew a rich guy and they were gay and they got married and somehow they got citizenship or something crazy like that. Whatever the story goes with, whatever this Brazilian or white or however, let's say he's Spanish too, that went out the window, he's long free. He'll never get charged with the crime. All because some white guy in a truck made an assumption that would make sense. And normally, it would make sense. But see, this is the problem. When it comes to strangers or people we don't like, we make assumptions to get them in trouble. And when it comes to family members and people we do like, we let them get away with murder. Absolutely. And that's a big problem in society. and something we all need to look out for. And one thing I was telling David earlier is that parents need to know that every single decision that they make is forming and shaping their child, especially if that child isn't allowed to be much in the outside world like I was. If he is locked away in programs and in the house, or just in the backyard with slugs, that's not exactly a childhood. So there's a lot that has to be added to make your kid successful. And if you're pulling resources and pumping stuff out of your son, trying to use him for stuff like Social Security, like Angly Best father did, where she used to beat her child to try to get Social Security from the state. He didn't speak any English, didn't understand what the doctors were doing to her daughter, and he just wanted the money, so stuff like that. Or if you're an elderly couple who just wants relief and your kid to be quiet, and you decide you're going to take drugs from your mother's medicine cabinet and toss it at your son, and then try to lie about him having all these disorders, that way you get Social Security, that's also going to fuck him up good. And then you're going to have to come to pay the price. Because if you don't, there's still somebody out there who knows what you did, who is hurt, and I don't think that they're just going to let it go. Most people do not like attempted murder or attempted manslaughter or whatever you want to call it. And when it came to me, just me, it was definitely my mother committed attempted manslaughter. Or some people might call it neglect that resulted in manslaughter. Because there's a good chance I would have died in Westford. There's a good chance there was several times, several situations my mother put me in where I could have died, physically died. And most children do die in these situations. Instead, I had my nervous system fried and my body changed for life. I guess I'm lucky to be alive. Yeah, my mother gave me a combination of her own pills, my pills, and pills she was lying to doctors to get, and I had an overdose. And then my mother left me on a pile of newspapers, ignored the people telling her to bring me to the emergency room, and then when this was brought up at the doctors, told her the doctor was an allergy attack, told the doctor she didn't know what medications and she didn't want to talk about it. And then this continued year after year after year, still to this day with nobody handling it. So yeah, I know exactly how one little mistake that your parents make can change the result of your entire life. I, now at the age of 31, will be at my job. A breeze will come in at the front door. I might have a seizure, a fall, whatever. And then I'm in the ambulance in the emergency room. All because my mother wanted to change the channel of the TV by slipping me drugs and lied to the doctor to get me more drugs prescribed than I needed and mix those around and give them to me. She made a decision. Now I have to pay for that for life. I'm not happy about that, especially that nobody told me this. I had to put it all together. People told me each detail, but they didn't tell me what it meant. I knew I had a horrible reaction where I went blind and I woke up with my whole body changed and I'm sucking on my skin trying to figure out what's wrong with my nervous system. Sucking on my skin. And I know from when I was 3, from sucking on my skin when I was a little baby, because babies suck on their thumbs, their skin in general, that something was seriously fucking wrong. And what really put the nail in the coffin that something was wrong is when the teachers called me in the hallway in Westford when I was ages between 5 and 7. I wasn't age 7 when the overdose happened. That is the deadline. Between age 5 and 7 is when the overdose occurred. I was in school. This was not the school in the orphanage either. This was a different school. I was called into the hallway. This was a much bigger school. This was after the orphanage school. The teachers kept on calling me in the hallway because they've seen me for almost a year now. And all of a sudden, my whole body, my speech, my movements, the way I walk changed for life. All of a sudden, overnight. So the teachers kept on calling me in the hallway, asking, saying they were going to call home. Then they signed me up for physical therapy and speech therapy right after this overdose. And then The doctor was told about the overdose. Then my mother decided to put me in ballet and move me to Texas. And that put a halt to any help I would have got. Again, as a parent, your decisions have big consequences for other people.